Hey everyone, welcome back to Manga Storian, the channel where I, Benny, also known as the Comic Storian, talk about a lot of anime and manga, but primarily One Piece. We do it like once a week. Well, I have a bit of a surprise for you, which is probably in the title, so you're not surprised. You see, my wife started watching the anime and the live action show recently, and I've mentioned rewatching portions that I've read with the anime with her. So I guess not rewatching, watching for the first time, which has given me a different perspective on a lot of the overall story, from the filler to how they're handled to even the more emotional moments. But as I've been saying since the beginning, she was interested in getting on here and chatting about it at some point. So today, we are bringing in my wife. I'll use her online handle to make it easier to find her, Yorcia!
Hello, hi. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
All right, so Yorcia that's her online handle. You can find her on Twitch and on YouTube if you want to see her content. Obviously, that's why she wants to come here and chat about One Piece. But it's not just about that. Where did you, right now, I listed a bunch of questions here so I don't overwhelm you because I do that a lot.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
But let's start it off right now. What have you watched? Where are you?
I am at the
And
end
talk
of...
freely about spoilers, because anybody watching, just tell them where you are now so that they know to stop watching then if they don't want spoilers.
It was yesterday. It's still really fresh in my mind. It was the end of episode 405. So it was a really, really pretty big cliffhanger that I'm still really much kind of just... I just want to keep watching at this point. It was when everyone just disappeared, which I was not expecting.
The Saba Odi arc.
Yes. I was not expecting that at all. I know that you were next to me when you were watching, so I was trying to hold back the tears a little bit. I was not expecting, such a massive. Everything happened so fast. It was just one episode. It was
one right after another, and then Luffy's reaction to the whole thing.
I think that's what got to me the most. I think the reason why I keep continuously watching is because the character development is just so good in this show. It's unmatched, I feel. At first, I couldn't stand Luffy at all. I mean, you knew this.
You're moving into my next question, the overall thoughts.
Yeah.
But I do want to tell you one thing. I have a little secret I've been doing when I watch the anime with you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you're admitting to me that you were holding back the tears,
I know I can
down.
tell. Usually, I can tell when you're also holding back the tears. So it's kind of like a I guess an untold match between us of like
right.
Who's gonna
Well, it is. Nobody wants to
first.
cry in front of the other one.
Yeah.
But what I do, so the way our living room is set up, the kitchen's right behind it. I get up and go get a drink. So
usually, or you're just on your phone conveniently, just typing to people. Yeah, I know. I've noticed.
When you were going back through Robin's backstory, I had to get up and go to the kitchen quite a few times.
Yeah, I don't. Every time that we've come to like a specific moment where the character development is insane, I feel like this is my favorite moment, and then it just keeps being topped off by something else that comes later. It's actually crazy. Every time that I watch a specific, character backstory being revealed, I'm like, oh man, this is my favorite now. It can't be topped. And then, the next couple of episodes, they just they just prove me wrong. It's crazy. I love it.
So I want to take off at the beginning so that's where you are now and your overall thoughts in general.
Yes.
But you just kind of went over what makes you keep watching One Piece, but your experience with One Piece was the same guy that got me to watch One Piece, Kevin. He's now converted you as well.
Yes.
He kept telling you that if you want to watch an emotional anime, watch One Piece. It's going to get to you. But you kind of had a similar reaction that I did when I first started watching One Piece, which was, this is very cartoony. I don't like Luffy's overall attitude and his constant yelling. Yeah.
I think, I give One Piece a shot before the show that came out that really just sealed it for me. Yeah, the live action. I couldn't get into it simply because Luffy was too loud and just I gave it maybe 10 episodes and I just couldn't get past it. And then the live action came out and I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna give it a shot again and see if I can get attached to these characters on a more live action-y, setting. And so I really did get attached to their backstories and the way that they were acting, really. And Luffy was not over the top. I could see he was going for the the show's Luffy, but not too over the top, so I could get into it more. And then
from the Netflix version,
yes, the live action, yes.
Yeah.
And then they started getting into the things that I had not gotten to watch in the anime version, and I was like, oh, is this what the anime was going to give away? And then I really just got interested in their backstory and their personality, and I just wanted to, after all of this was done, obviously I was hooked, so I wanted to see if the anime what was going to keep me hooked in the same way.
Right.
I just feel like I hadn't given the anime much of a chance. I feel like I should have probably given it like, I don't know, 30 to 50 episodes, and I just stopped way too early. And I'm glad that I'm glad that I watched the live action, because now I'm just hooked in the anime. I just want to know more about these characters. But it really is just about, for me, what hooked me in is really, if I can't relate to a character, or if I can't get into their backstory, or if it's not, if it doesn't make me feel things, I just drop whatever it is I'm watching. And the anime, the live action did a really, really good job at making me care for these characters. And I really like that me caring about these characters kind of just, it moved over to the anime, and it's like I don't know how to explain it. It's like I don't know how to explain it. It's it's like it's like what they portrayed in the live action. It felt like, I mean, they just did such a great job. I feel like
they really carried the same character personalities over.
Yeah.
They just kind of cut down on a bit of the yelling to make it work for live action, which is one thing I liked about it.
And
I know when it came to Barati's, when you started having a lot of questions when we were watching the live action. Until then, you were just like enjoying the ride. But Barati's, when you started being like, oh, who's Mihawk? What is Zoro doing? What's going on?
That's what I mean. Yeah, like I at that point when I was done with the live action, I was like, these are the people that I enjoy, that I like. And the second that I transferred that, the end of the live action to the anime, it's like I never really left, if that makes sense. Like I picked up where the live action stopped,
Now we've gotten a lot of flack for that, because I had you go right to Whiskey Peak, and everyone says that we were supposed to watch Logtown. At this point, you've learned who everyone from Logtown was. I don't even know
what that means, Ben. Like when you told me this is what the audience wants. I know that you've told me about this is what the audience wants. They want you to like skip the spoil. I mean the.
Well, let's actually bring that up, because a lot of the people, when I tweeted out you're watching it, said go watch One Piece. Go watch One Piece. and I have told you what episodes are filler, so so you can skip them. But I think you've only skipped one episode of filler. And the only arc you skipped
not even
over was...
I don't think, because I felt bad about it, because like I told you, I didn't want to listen to the audience too much, because I know that they're very set in their ways, and they're like, this is what you should watch because everything else is filler, and it doesn't really add anything to the story. For me personally, what got me into watching it is the characters, their development, their growth, and I feel like. And the banter between them. I love that. That's what hooked me in, and that's why I'm still watching after episode 4 or 5. Like I care about these characters, and for me, in order to care about these characters, I need to be able to see like what they're up to around the big arcs, if that makes sense, right? Like just kind of see how they act around the big arcs and the important segments. And I feel like, I don't know. I loved every minute of it. I don't think I skipped anything. The only thing that irked me.
406 and 407.
Probably. I don't know actually, because now I went back a little bit yesterday, and I was like, let me just. It's like 5 episodes. Let me just see what they're up to.
It's
2 episodes. It's not a big deal.
So you're gonna watch them anyway.
Yeah, it's fine. But but the thing is, shoot, I wanted to say something and now I don't. The only thing that irked me the most, the only filler that irked me the most is when, I think it was Robin, because it was such an incredibly long freaking arc, and you were gone at that point, and I was going through the entirety of Robin's backstory, and you were like, just keep watching, it's gonna happen.
And you kept asking me questions, and I'm like, just keep watching.
Yes, and it was such an incredibly long arc. What irked me the most is that finally, as they were about to reveal her history and stuff, they took a massive break of like 2 to 3 episodes, and it was like Christmas and New Year, like Christmas back to New Year, as like a filler episode, and I was like, come on, like I've been watching for like 60 episodes and finally you get to that point and then you're like, nah, we're just gonna make you wait 2 more episodes. I mean, you've been watching for 50, so what does it matter? But yeah, that's the only thing that kind of irked me a little bit. But after that though, it was just a crazy roller coaster. I loved it.
Oh yeah, you go from that to Thriller Bark, which you really enjoyed Brooke and Laboon.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, like when I'm sure that in your questions you have written like what's your favorite arc so far.
Yep.
It's really,
well, that's what I was saying. What is your favorite arc?
It's really difficult because if you were asked, this is why I wanted to wait as long as possible before talking to you about One Piece. Is that I feel like I would have told you my first one was definitely the Usopp segment where he just kind of like he just popped off. He was just like, I want to keep the boat.
So Water
okay,
7.
yeah,
Water
I want to
7
keep the boat and I'm gonna battle Luffy for it basically. And that was my favorite moment. And then we progressed past this, and then it was Robin's backstory that got to me a little bit. And then after that, it was Usopp coming back that got to me a little bit. Because I was like, there's no way they're just gonna leave him on the port like crying.
They made
like
you
this.
think that though, didn't
yeah,
they? Zoro's speech about not inviting him back.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no.
Yeah, like
I know it by chapter 1000 Usopp's there, but that doesn't mean Usopp's missing for 500 chapters.
Yeah, that was nuts. That was nuts. I was really hoping, but I mean at the same time, I knew there was no way. If I was watching the show as it came out, I definitely would have believed that. But I knew that, I knew that all the characters were eventually just going to get back together. So, but yeah, so that got to me a little bit because I saw again another side of Luffy, another side of Usopp. I mean, it's so interesting, man. Like how they can go from like just laughing their hearts out and just being super goofy, and then to just being like another episode later, they're just like crying, like just on their knees, just begging. It's crazy. I love the character growth, man. Like I said, it's just that's what's hooking me. But anyway, so after the Usopp moment, definitely Brook when he got introduced. I love Brook, and then everything that got tied together, and you finally realize that Laboon is involved in Brook's story as well, which was amazing to me. And then after that, obviously, it's the 405 episode. I think this is my favorite moment right now because
when
I've
Kuma
seen.
shows up and explains nothing.
That, and also just Luffy, just like you see like how confident he was in the arc before when he was like saving the mermaid and stuff, and then they get to this island where everyone is just so overpowered compared to them, and they're just nothing. Yeah. They just can't fight anyone. Like they're all just, it's crazy.
It's not even like a contest. Like Luffy's just immediately getting dropped. Like
yeah, I know. And then just seeing him realize that he was way over his own head and just letting his crew down, and just seeing all of his crew just being taken away in front of him is crazy. I think this is my favorite moment so far. Yeah, it's insane.
His realization that he's just not strong.
Yes, because it's 400 episodes of just him pretty much being OP and just destroying everyone, and people just underestimating them and the crew, even the Marines, right? And then just them being completely decimated. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, I think before this, the first time Luffy had a problem was CP9.
Yeah,
CP9, then the main guy for that one, I can't remember his name.
It was the guy that was the cat person, right?
Yeah, he was the first guy that really started to challenge Luffy's powers.
And there was
the next question about it, what is the arc that finally got you to be interested? Because for me, I told everyone I was reading because I was getting great responses to the video, so I was like, I'll keep reading and see if I really
I know
get
exactly.
hooked.
I know exactly.
For me, it was Arlong. Like, the moment when he puts the hat on Nami.
Well, I think, didn't we watch that together? I'm pretty sure we did. Yeah.
Well, you saw the live action version.
No, but I think you showed me a couple of moments before then.
If you, for those who don't know, we did try watching the movies, and you watched the East Blue movie.
Yes, that's it.
Which gave you no context to anything.
Not at all.
That was the worst part.
Yeah, not at all. I think this is why I just decided to drop it, because I was like, I have no idea what's going on. This is supposed to mean something to people, and I have no context, and I don't care about any of these characters.
Yeah, we tried to watch that as a way to condense it down, because you were very intimidated by 1,000 episodes.
Yes, and that's why when I when I went back to the live action and I saw the journey from Nami being recruited to that moment, it made more sense to me at that point. I was like, oh, this is why it means so much to people, and so much, it's just again, it shows a different side of her and a different side of Luffy. And so yeah, I think personally for me, like I said, it's about the characters. So when they recruited Sanji and just seeing the dynamic between Sanji and Zoro and Nami, I think this is what hooked me in. I love the banter. Once again, it's all about the banter for me, and just and seeing their journey throughout the whole thing. So I think once they recruited him and they just started to have like that competition between them every single episode, I think that's what hooked me in. I was just like, eventually they'll become best buds. So it wasn't even an arc,
it was just the character back and forth.
Yeah. Like I said, for me personally, it's not even about it's about the story, sure, but it's definitely about the character's journey as well. Like I need to be able to care about the characters, and again, it's so unmatched in my opinion. Just how they started versus how they are right now. This is what I enjoy watching. This is what I keep watching. Yeah.
So I want to ask your opinions on each of the characters, but I do want to bring up a particular arc because I know that the character is. We're going to start with this one.
Yep.
You're not a fan of Chopper.
Okay, listen. When he
got recruited. But
did
you like Chopper in his arc when he showed up?
Yes. Yes. It was weird because, again, it was the first, animal. I mean, not really the first animal dude because it was Arlon and he's a freaking shark. But I don't know, he felt like it felt out of place when he first showed up. And then the fact that, again, I'm not a big fan of, over the top, very squeaky voices, I'm not a big fan. So it was really, really difficult for me to just, every time, there was a specific episode I remember where it was him. I think he was separated from the group and he just completely freaked out, and he just kept freaking out for 2 or 3 episodes to the point where when I was showing up on screen, I would just mute the TV. I just couldn't do it. He was just he was just screaming, and I just couldn't deal with it. So I feel like now, again, around the 400 episodes, he's definitely mellowed down a little bit, I feel like. And if he does freak out, it doesn't last nearly as long. So I feel like again, the more and more episodes he has been with the crew, I feel like he's kind of mellowed down a little bit. He's not nearly as useful as everyone else, obviously, but he's growing on me a little bit now because everyone starts to care about each other. And so I feel like, again, at first I was not a big fan of him, yes, because of his squeaky voice and because of how over the top he was. But then again, Luffy also grew on me. Like, he does the same thing. He's just clueless at times, but then he grows on you because you see that deep down he cares and he's not as goofy as he makes it out to be. But I wasn't a big fan of Chopper. Obviously, my 2 favorites, actually 3 favorites now. First it was Zoro, and then it was Sanji and Zoro together, and now it's definitely the dynamic between Brook just being a complete nut job, man. A complete nut job. I love Brook. Yeah, he's really good.
I like. So we were watching that episode yesterday with the disappearing, and when Brook leaves, he says, "I will stand here until I'm dead." And he's like, "No, wait, I'm already dead."
He always makes these jokes, man, every single time.
But the way you reacted was great because you started to laugh, and then you realized Brook was gone.
Yeah,
so, your laugh stopped midway. You're like, "Wait, where'd Brook go?" Because he's the first one to get wiped out.
Yep. Yeah, I was like, oh no, he's doing the thing that he was doing on the girl, that because you told me to pay attention. Sometimes you do that because I get distracted and you're like, pay attention to what's about to happen. And what was about to happen is that the girl was about to be wiped out with no explanation. And I was like, where did she go? And you were like, well, she disappeared. And then I swear to God, man, I think
Perona. You're talking about Perona back at Thriller.
Yes. That's because that's the only other, person we've seen disappear before the entire crew. And so I had no context whatsoever, and you just told me to pay attention to it. And then it just kind of clicked when I saw Brook disappear. Yeah, it was rough. And then it's just, at first I was like, oh, it's just going to be Zoro and a couple of them, just 2 or 3. And they're just going to be going on their way to try to find them again. No, it was the entire crew. Even at the end when he goes up to Luffy and he's like, this is the last time we'll see each other. And I didn't think, I thought he was just going to leave him alone and just be like, hey, this is your lesson to not mess with me. Like, I just got rid of your entire crew. I'm leaving you alone. Like, don't mess with me anymore. Don't mess with us. And no, it turns out that he was also wiped out in the end. So I think that's what got to me the most as well, because he just showed up to him and he was like, this is the last time we'll see each other. And then boom, he's gone. And I was just
it's actually one of the funnier moments, because when that first started happening, your initial reaction was like, oh my God, they're all gone. Then you were like, they'll be back in an episode or two. So I had to do like a mild, not spoiler, but and all I said was just pay attention, because they're not. You've got a long way to go still.
Yeah, you told me that. Yeah,
and then you realized that it kind of sunk in. Like, wait, this is actually something.
Yeah,
this isn't just.
Yeah, I was not expecting that.
Because that's the downside to us knowing that there's 1,000 episodes and that the crew's at the end of the journey. So we know that. So I've had some of the similar reactions where, like, when that first happened, I was like, oh, well, they're going to be back next arc. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah,
you know?
That was my reaction too, because at first, like, usually they like to do that. They like to do, like, especially, I think it was Water 7, right? Where Luffy seemingly was beaten by that guy. And then obviously he's like, no, I'm switching to Gear 2 and Gear 3. And then he defeats them in the end. Yeah. And I think that's what I like about it too. I love tragic. This anime, man, is just a mix of everything. There's something for everyone, and that's what I love about it. It's just, personally, I love tragic animes, tragic games, tragic movies, something that just makes you feel things, right? And so far, there's not a single episode where something was not happening that could make you feel things. It was crazy. It's so well written.
Yeah,
it's just
it really is well written. That's one of the reasons I like it. Because even when you have the slower moments, like, because I'm doing it with the chapters, the slower moments might go out for a little while, but they normally get punctuated by something that makes it all worthwhile.
Yes.
So
yeah, no, it's incredible.
You've kind of answered a lot of the questions I already had, but Kevin had one for you, wanted me to throw out there for you. Who's your favorite villain so far?
The one that intimated the one that's really just seems super OP is the guy that just wiped everyone just now, Kuma, right? That guy. I think
everyone on that island had like that power level.
I guess, yeah, but this guy, I want to know more about this guy, because he's got a bunch of clones and nothing's answered, man. I just want to know, like, who made these clones? Is it him? Is it, I want to know more about his power. He just seems incredibly OP. Besides, I think, I would have to say Kuma, probably, because he's the one that posed the most threat to the crew at this point. That just seems the most interesting. I don't think you can consider the guy that showed up in the live action too. I want to know more about him. That had that had like a massive sword, and he's just like had that crazy move.
Oh, Mihawk.
Yeah, Mihawk. Yeah, that guy.
I was like, who?
yeah, that guy. And then, I want to know more about Shanks too, because you've told me multiple times he's crazy OP as well. I want to know more about him.
Yeah, well, I've also told you that's a long way to go before you see
But he's
anything.
not really, they're not really villains though, so yeah, probably just Kuma at the moment. He's just, every time that he shows up, man.
Mihawk beat the tar out of Zoro.
Yeah, you can see the legitimate fear in Zoro's eyes whenever he showed up. And everyone was just like, who's this guy? And I think it was just Sanji and Zoro at that point, because they knew who he was.
Yeah.
I think Robin too, because she was like eavesdropping on what was happening and stuff.
Robin wasn't around when they met Mihawk.
No, but she knows what Zoro did for Luffy though, because she was listening in.
Oh, the Kuma moment. Yeah.
Yes. So he kind of she probably knows what he's capable of at that point. But you could see the legitimate fear in Zoro's eyes and like his face entirely when he showed up, and I don't think it's ever happened. It was Mihawk for him, because he got defeated by him, and Kuma. So I think Kuma's my answer for now. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So I used to have a fun thing on the channel where I throw it out, and I still throw out my stuff. What is your theory for what's going on? And I'm not going to confirm nor deny anything.
The One Piece and stuff. Is that what you mean, or
anything?
You mean?
What theories do you have about the show moving forward? What do you think?
Well, I've told you. I honestly.
What do you think Kuma's power is? What's your theory on it right now?
Oh my God! I mean, you've told me that, because I really wanted to know what his deal was. So you told me that he just sends people
Well, they said it in the show. And
Yeah.
I was like, remember what she said, or he said.
So the theory is that they just travel up in the air for 3 days or something. Is that it?
Right. The statement was that Kume can send you flying through the air for 3 days straight, and you'll land somewhere.
You'll land somewhere. Okay. So I mean, at that point, they're all gonna just be scattered and have to find each other again, which is gonna be amazing. Amazing, but at the same time, I'm really worried because again, I don't want to see their reaction when they find each other because at this point they all know that they think that everyone's dead at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that when then each of them wake up, they'll be like, oh man, everyone. I wonder if everyone's okay. But Luffy, when he gets up, he'll probably be like, everyone's dead. Like, what am I doing? Where am I going from here? So I'm really worried to see his reaction when he finds his crew again. I think it's gonna get me probably. When it comes to the One Piece, I feel like, I don't know, in my head, whenever people are talking about the One Piece, I feel like if they eventually find the One Piece does not exist. It's just basically something that Goldie Roger, right, just kind of didn't make up. I don't know, because now I have more of his backstory, and I truly genuinely believe that he left something behind.
Yeah, because you met Rayleigh.
Yes,
you met Rayleigh, and
I just
Rayleigh
did.
kind of
Yes,
had answers.
But at first,
it was funny because you're texting me because I was downstairs at work, and you're just like, "This guy has all the answers."
He does. Like, why wouldn't you want to ask him? He's basically the writer at this point. He knows everything, so just ask him. I mean, I guess it's about the adventure and finding what you want to find on your own and without help. I get that. Yeah, this guy. So before meeting this guy, I genuinely thought that Goldie Roger was just kind of sending people to just be on their own adventure, and in the end, the One Piece was not even real. It's about the adventure along the way or something like that.
That's what you kept saying early on, and I was like, I don't know, but I also don't have any answers on the One Piece.
Exactly. Right, so that's what I was thinking. But now, after
Rayleigh made me think like I think there's more to this than just the friends we made along the way.
Yes, it made me feel for Goldie Roger as well because he was sick and he just and all along we thought that he actually got caught, but he didn't, and that just hearing about this backstory kind of just made me feel for him. But yeah, I truly believe he left something now. I don't know what, but I don't think it's gonna be something cheesy, but I don't know, man. Oh man, or maybe what I was thinking as well before meeting him is, if they do find the One Piece and it's like in a chest or something, at the end of the show they're gonna be like, finally we found it, and then they open whatever's inside and it just cut to black, and you just
they never show you.
They never show you. Yeah, they never show you, and they're just like it's basically up to interpretation at that point. I mean, whatever you think it is.
The story's more about the journey and everything.
Exactly.
And the journey to become the king of the pirate.
Yes.
I don't know how I'd feel about that. I think if it did open and we just
I'd
found
be
out
okay
it's
with
nothing,
it.
I was gonna say, I think I'd be okay with it because it was more. It doesn't matter
it's
if
about
it's
the
treasure
journey.
or whatever. Just let them have whatever it was, and it's over. Mm-hmm. I can see that.
Yeah, I would enjoy it if it was something truly that if it was something that I truly cared about, I would also be happy for them. That's fine, but maybe it's world peace.
He opens it and it's world peace.
Maybe it's world peace.
Well, anyway, thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
If you guys enjoyed this video, maybe we can have her back in it after post-war arc, so that'd be like another 100 episodes.
You'll
know the cliffhanger when you get
to it.
It'll be
fine. Yeah. Okay.
And if you want to talk to her about One Piece and her journey on it, go check her out over on twitch.tv/Yorcia.
I did not Twitch anymore, Ben.
Oh, well, I was going to say both.
It's YouTube.
And YouTube.com/Yorcia.
Mostly YouTube, yeah.
It's YORCIA. I'll have the links down below. That's this week's One Piece video, guys. I'll be back next week talking about Punk Hazard, and we'll be talking more about, I don't know, I haven't found anything else to read yet. I got a Zom video that just came out. Anyway, we'll see you guys later.
Bye-bye.